Welcome back to MetalmanX Builds, and today we're taking a look at the SNAA Hunt and Kill from Supernova. Of course, I got this kit over at Gundam Central. Make sure to check them out, the link will be in the description. So moving on to the kit, I really have to say I truly enjoyed this build. Now there were some ups and downs with some of the accessories, but for the most part, I really love this build. It's really on par with anything Bandai was putting out at the time. I think this was one of Supernova's first kits that came out after the Wings series, and I think they did a really good job in getting everything so well balanced. This kit has a really great amount of detail and articulation. Lots of movement there in the waist, as well as movement in the head. A little bit limited there, but the shoulders are a shining point on this build. These shoulders not only give you back and forward rotation, but you can move them out in order to get a wide range of different movements and poses out of this kit. And I just have to say, these joints were really well done. They didn't feel brittle or like they were going to break. Yeah, it's a little tight, but I think that has to do with just having built it. Now the arms are pretty standard. The hands come on a ball joint. Now one area where there is a lot of limitation is the waist. These different flaps on here are on hinged up and down joints, so you can get a little bit of the saggy, but the back is on this really neat ball joint, which I don't think I have seen before in a gunpla, which, you know, really kind of cool design. It moves in any direction that you need for moving the legs backwards. So really cool design by Supernova there. If you know what kit previously from Bandai had something like that, please let me know in the comments. So moving on to the leg articulation, you get a fairly decent amount of articulation on the feet and legs. There is going to be a sliding gimmick that I'll talk about that tends to pop off. It's just on a little friction hook kind of thing. I don't know, those are clip maybe. So yeah, there's the big problem right there. It does pop off really easily, and it's a pain to get back on because of how it's designed. So the thing that really causes a big limitation, like I was saying, is this front skirting. It does limit your forward momentum with the legs, so you are going to be a bit limited, but you can turn the legs to the side and move them through like that. It is a bit of a downside to this kit, but it's a small gripe. Now, the sliding gimmick on the knees is really cool. It is able to pretty much snap back in place, giving you a really flush look when it is fully closed. So you get this really good separation that comes out of that gimmick, which is really great. Moving on down the legs, you have a pivot on the little, I guess you would call them leg bracers, and some fairly good articulation on the feet. Not the best I've ever seen, but still pretty standard for a master grade. Now moving on to the backpack, this is a simple plug-in backpack, but you may notice when building that these parts right here aren't actually part of the backpack. They are attached to the chest piece. So these can be removed, but you'll still have the place where they attach to the chest piece there. You can attach these little satellite cannon peripherals on the articulated sections. So they just peg in. They're a little bit hard to do when you're trying to do a review and keep everything in camera, but they do peg in fairly securely, so no big issues with them falling off. And with the articulated joints right there, you can get quite a bit of different options. So you do get 4 of these that come with the kit. I'm going to set this thing down for a second here, and we're going to take a look at these. So they are very articulated. They open up um, into these little like wing style sections. They aren't my favorite part of the kit, and I'll show you why in just a second. But these open up on both these sections. This part can fold up just like that. And you can insert one of these blast effects, beam effects, whatever you want to call it, clear parts that come with the kit. So the clear parts on this kit are really great. For the most part, I really enjoyed them, and I think they look really great here. Just a really, they really catch the light. You could also use one of these more straight shot beam effects, which is pretty darn cool. Now, one of the big features of this is you can have it in multiple modes. So you can have it blasting out with this ring beam effect going out of the front. And I totally suggest you move the little yellow parts to get this on. It's a bit of a hassle, but it can do that. But here's the real part that drives me nuts. So you have to turn these around, and these parts fall off. The little covers on here are they just fall off in your hands when you're turning them. And most times I would suggest just go ahead and glue those on, but I'm not sure if they would eventually break off because of the pressure. They get knocked off by the actual pieces pushing against them, and they are a pain to get back on. But it does look so cool on the stand. I mean, props to them for trying something like this, and especially including the effects parts. But still, this is a massive pain to put back together every time. So I suggest you pick how you like this and leave it. Moving on to the rest of the accessories, and you don't actually get all that much with this kit. Now, I'll actually talk about that here in a minute. The staff weapon that it has is absolutely gorgeous and is very well balanced in the hands. There is no issue holding this weapon with this kit. So I left the hand on there so I can easily put it on later, but I really like how this looks. It folds out just like it does with the satellite bits part, and you can put in the same beam effects that you would in that mode. You can also place on the ring beam effects as well if you'd like. I didn't really care for that in my final build, so I left those off. All in all, this is a really cool weapon, and I really dig it. I think they did a really good job. It's easy to hold in the hands and doesn't fall apart, which is always a positive. So moving on to the other accessories that you get these little arm shields. Now, these I think look great. They kind of remind me of things like the Blitz Gundam and things like that, but they have pretty good articulation. As you can see, you can move them all the way backwards. They can be attached to the little stands, and feel free to do that. I chose to keep them on the arms because I really love the beam effects with this part of the kit. So they do have some extra articulation right here. You can see you can pull those out and expand it, and that's on both sides of the shield. Really cool design. I really dig it. So the beam part just slides right in to this, and I gotta commend Supernova again for their work with beam parts. The beam effects here are gated at where it plugs in, and there's no other gates or runners on there, so you get a really clean, beam effect straight out of the box with this, and I think that's something that's really overlooked a lot. Too many times we get kits that have really nasty nub marks on the beam effects, and it just really throws you out of it. Supernova did a fantastic job with these. You do get a wide variety of different hands that come with this kit, ranging from regular holding hands to closed fist to open hands that stretch out. One interesting inclusion here was a trigger hand. This kit doesn't come with any guns, so it makes me wonder if this kit would be compatible with something like the Thunderbolt. So you may be able to use other weapons from other Supernova kits, which would be really cool if you were wanting to use this for a custom. Now, of all my love for this kit, there are some issues that I have to address. Namely, some of the undergating here. It was a little bit hit or miss. Some areas where you would expect undergating, you didn't get it, and you had to do some cleanup. Supernova's really good with their undergating, but in this one they were a little bit more lackluster than what I've seen on recent kits like the Blue Flame. So undergating, especially on the clear parts, is a bit of a hassle. The other area where I really struggled with this kit is the water slide decals. The decals on this kit, they are cut really well. They look fantastic, but they are very fragile. So you're going to have to be very careful when placing the water slide decals on this kit. Honestly, I broke so many of these water slide decals, and it's not helped by the fact that a lot of these decals wrap around edges. So sometimes when you're placing them and you're trying to move them in the correct position, they just break. And unfortunately, this kit has a lot of those styles of decals, especially on the back and around the front on the chest. So that's going to be a definite ding for this kit. But still, the main mechanics of the kit, the articulation, the look, the feel, the ease of this build puts it on par with any Bandai kit that you would get. So as far as a grade for this kit, I'm going to give it an A-. It is a fantastic build from beginning to end. However, there are some issues when it comes to articulation, especially in the hips and in the water slide decals and undergating on this kit. Still, it's a kit worth picking up. It is a fun build and it looks so good on any shelf. So make sure to get yours over at Gundam Central. And also thank you so much for supporting this channel as we move closer and closer to 1,000 subs. Next time on Third Party Throwdown, I'm going to be checking out the latest release from Era, the Thunderbolt. So make sure to subscribe and join us for that, and we'll see you next time.